Let's go.
This is Abra with my review of the debut issue of Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb from Mirakumo Comics and produced entirely by the exceptionally talented Keung Lee. This is Lee's very first comic, and if this issue is any indication of what's to come, then readers should be very happy. Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb is a comic inspired by Japanese graphic novels called manga. Now, I'm not a follower of manga. However, I have dabbled in a few anime shows. Keung Lee states that he drew on his love of fighting games and the tokusatsu film genre. God, I hope I pronounced that right. Which is essentially transforming superheroes and giant monsters. So, pretty much all the ingredients for some over-the-top, insane fun. Keung Lee had his comic funded through Indiegogo, which I first discovered through my following of Comicsgate. Although this style of story isn't my normal cup of tea, it was Keung's amazing art style and great story pitch that convinced me to throw my support behind him. I backed at the $25 tier, which included a signed copy of the book, a cool sticker of the comic company, and some cool trading cards. And on a side note, I just love Keung's signature. That's so cute. The story is about a young woman named Seiya, who finds her world suddenly altered forever when she is brought back from the brink of death by her surrogate uncle, Albert Vogel. The comic begins in the midst of a fight, beautifully illustrated by Keung Lee. Then we are quickly teleported back in time so we can get caught up with the events which led Seiya to this point. I really appreciated this decision because I was hooked by some pretty sweet action, before being introduced to the main character's story arc. I quickly became invested in Seiya as I learned more about what gave her depth. She is a friendly, caring individual. Growing up, she was a tomboy with a strong will and sense of justice, which got her into fights with bullies. Her father taught her to control her emotions and channel that energy by teaching her a special form of karate he developed. It is by continuing to train that as an adult, Seiya is able to cope with the loss of her father. While visiting with her uncle Albert for his birthday, the two are jumped by some military-looking individuals. Seiya attempts to defend herself and her uncle, but is bravely wounded in the process. Readers soon learn that Uncle Albert is caught up with an evil pharmaceutical company who are forcing him to develop a serum, codenamed God Hand, which will be used to create super soldiers. Albert has been trying to figure out a way to stop this program and escape, but with his niece near death, he's forced to complete the formula to save her life. The process physically changes Seiya, enhancing her and giving her powers. This is a rather traumatic experience for Seiya, who wakes up in a sealed, water-filled tank. Terrified, she smashes free and begins to realize that she is now a stranger in her own body. She questions why she suddenly doesn't recognize herself, why she can now see perfectly, even without her glasses. Similar to Tobey Maguire in the first Spider-Man movie. These are all nice touches, which highlight for the reader just how disturbing the situation is for the protagonist, and it makes this feel like a true origin story. The first issue soon ends on a cliffhanger, but not before first showing some additional, beautifully illustrated action scenes. The comic is rounded out by introducing supporting characters who each have depth and backstories. You can tell that their relationships were well thought out. Additional elements are inserted into this first issue, which hint at a deeper mystery to be fleshed out in later issues. Keung Lee's artwork is gorgeous, and the pages seem to come to life. At times, I almost feel as if I'm watching an anime rather than simply reading a comic. I like how there are different art styles incorporated into his work, and the bits of humor sprinkled in are a nice touch. For anyone who might be unsure about the lack of color in this book, don't be. I never found this to be a shortcoming. The beautifully rendered characters and environments, along with the use of clever perspective, bring plenty of life to the pages. As someone who would have normally passed on this project, I am so glad that I decided to back it. Keung and his story have me hooked, and I can't wait for the continuation of Seiya's story. Hopefully the next campaign will be up on Indiegogo soon. For those who missed the first go-around, please don't miss out again. Thank you so much for watching. This is Abra, and that was my 2 cents.